Hi, Tom Mills here, and I'm at the National Symposium of the CaGBC. I'm with Thomas Mueller. Hi, Thomas.
How are you?
I met you a few years ago when one of the conferences was in Montreal. We talked at that time about LEED for Homes. It was just being introduced.
That's correct. Yes, I remember that very well.
The focus this year is a little bit different.
Yes, it is. The focus this year is a national symposium that we are holding here in Toronto, and it's on existing buildings.
Okay.
And how can we make existing buildings, and there are many of them, how can we make them more sustainable?
Now, so that's a bit of a different focus, or I guess an added focus to the new construction, looking at all this stock of commercial, industrial, and multi-residential housing?
Essentially, yes. I think the issue is that 30% of greenhouse gas emissions are associated with buildings. And these emissions need to be reduced by 2020. You know, other goals go to 2030. But the fact is that most of those buildings have already been built. So we really need to shift our focus to existing buildings and see how we can achieve deep reductions in existing buildings, and also how can we engage a larger segment, a larger percentage of the existing building stocks to make improvements.
So what's the general strategy to go out there, and I guess we're talking about property owners, managers, that kind of thing?
Yeah, landlords. The general strategy is the programs that we have actually two programs. One is a LEED product called LEED for Existing Buildings, Operations and Maintenance, that looks at, particularly for larger properties, commercial real estate, to get a certification, go through the LEED program, get a certification, and to make sure that the buildings are operated and maintained at a higher level. There's also some retrofit in there. So this is one of the programs that we have. The other program that we have is called Green Up, and this is a performance benchmarking program that we developed for those building owners and landlords that are for smaller properties, that are not as well capitalized properties. We wanted to engage them with the program to also do something in their buildings to reduce the energy use and to reduce the water use.
So the symposium here is looking at different ways to go about doing that. I know I stopped in on a few of them, and there are some case studies and some of the successes that have already happened there.
That's right. We're looking at, our goal at the Council is to bring about a 50% reduction in energy use, in total energy use in any building. And the symposium is about the different ways and how you can get there. Now, when we started to identify existing buildings about 5 years ago now, and it was in 2006 as a major focus for the Council, and established a 50% goal, a lot of people said it can't be done. But since then we have done a lot of work, a lot of benchmarking, a lot of data collection, a lot of research to show that actually we can get to the 50% and we can get even beyond that.
I mean, that's pretty exciting to be able to take especially a large building, a large user of energy, and bring that down by 50% is substantial.
It is substantial, it's possible. And in fact, more and more tenants actually demand it. They want to lease in buildings, in commercial buildings that are considered to be green. If they have some kind of measurement, if they have some kind of certification or some kind of label, then the tenants appreciate that very much, because they know that somebody or a third party like the Canada Green Building Council has looked at those buildings and had to make sure that they're performing better than the other buildings that are typically on the market.
So there's a market driver then for the property owners to go this direction?
There's a market driver. There's also a driver around corporate social responsibility that many of the larger firms have introduced a couple of years ago. And now the environmental aspect of that is also coming into play, and it's playing out in the different markets across the country. But Toronto right now, in the downtown core, there's a lot of commercial office space. We see a lot of activity around greening that office space to LEED for existing buildings and to using a green up rating system and other measures to achieve that goal.
So these measurement systems, I mean, I'm familiar with the silver, the gold, the platinum, the different levels. These all then apply to the rating system for the existing buildings?
That's correct, yes. LEED for existing buildings has the same ratings as the other LEED rating systems, so certified silver, gold, and platinum. And we already have a number of LEED gold existing buildings in Canada now that include 77 King Street West, a property by Carlac Fairview that has been certified last year to LEED Gold. There's a property by Oxford Properties that's been certified to LEED for existing buildings. So the number of existing buildings and actually new office space as well that has gone LEED in the Toronto area and other parts of the country.
So that's this program. What's kind of the next step for the CaGBC in terms of building in general?
Well, the next stage is that you can drive, or I should say reduce total energy use in buildings only by that much on an individual building scale, so building by building. What we are starting to do now is look at the neighborhood and the community scale, and particularly at infrastructure systems that allow us additional efficiencies around energy use. So for example, district energy systems allow you to deliver renewable energy to buildings. And one good example is actually the N-Wave system in Toronto that uses deep lake cooling to cool many buildings in the downtown core. It's these types of community systems that allow you to further reduce energy use in buildings. And so we're moving away just from the building scale to the neighborhood and to the community scale. And you will see a number of programs and approaches that allow us to do that starting this year.
Interesting. Now, of course, the CaGBC is also dealing as well with residential homes and so forth.
Yes.
I know that's not a focus of the symposium this year, but what's kind of going on that front?
We have quite a number of homes now that are enrolled in our Lead for Homes program. We are approaching pretty close, I think, to about 1,000 homes now in Canada that either have registered or are currently being constructed or have been certified under our program. So it's slowly taking off because it's a very demanding standard for home building to make homes greener. And there's also some projects now. There's one in Vancouver, in North Vancouver now, multi-unit residential projects, like a 3-story wood frame project that's actually going Lead for Homes Platinum. That's a builder, Adera, which is quite well known in the Vancouver area, and has now taken on that project. So we see that the home builders are getting into that as well now for various reasons. I think, approvals, municipal approvals, but as well as consumer demand.
It's all exciting stuff.
It's very exciting stuff, yes.
Appreciate your time, Thomas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.